welcome to the last Sibos Today from Geneva. I'm Stephen Chair, and we're bringing you the build-up to our closing plenary session. Nadine is down in the audience chatting to some of the people there. Nadine, how are things going?
Thank you, Stephen. Yes, they're going very well. And as the closing plenary starts the countdown already, yes, the auditorium is starting to fill up. And somebody I found here, who I think wants to bag an early spot at the closing plenary, is, of course, the head of Sibos. And I'm talking about Sven Bossu. Welcome, Sven, again.
Hey, Nadine. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you very much. So how's the last day been for you?
Exciting. Really, no, the delegate figures are now at 8,332, which is astonishing, really. And the other thing is, today we had a big issue debate around disruptive technology. It was very insightful. InnoTribe closed the week with making a summary of the 4 days on distributed ledger and blockchain. The Nuke Foundation finalized their pieces of art. And now we're going to have a closing plenary. So it was a great day so far.
So it's been an action-packed day 4. Now, when you were on the breakfast show this morning, the figure was slightly less, so you managed to find a few more. So just tell us the final figure again and spell it out really slowly, because it's a fantastic figure, isn't it?
Absolutely. The final figure is 8,332 delegates.
Wow. So I'm quite pleased, actually, because we've beaten Stephen's hometown, Singapore. Not that it's a competition at all, but it's a great, I'd say, record-breaking, is it, based on last year? It
is truly record-breaking. I'm sorry for Stephen, but yeah. Can't be out.
So what other sessions have you enjoyed this week? Let's go back to the start of the week on Monday. Can you remember that far back?
I do, and I think the opening plenary was a really good opening plenary with all 3 speakers highlighting the importance of the financial infrastructure and the security related and needed around that. So that was really good. Then Tuesday, of course, we had the debate around cyber. I think Marco Görke was astonishing as a speaker, and also the financial stability debate. And then, of course, we had Wednesday on cognitive data with the 2 CEOs debating the importance of data and how intelligent data can actually improve our way of living and improve our standards. So now it was, wow.
Well, you've passed the memory test, so well done to you. Now, I know you love chatting to all the exhibitors and the delegates. So what have they been telling you? What kind of feedback have you been picking up from them?
I think what they especially liked is the fact that you have the conference and the exhibition, and now you have content on both areas, and it's very well integrated. And the other thing they especially liked is that everything on the same level. That helps for the tired feet.
It does indeed. Now, looking ahead, obviously, we've got a special party tonight. Are you allowed to say anything about that now?
Well, it's a special team, a bit Swiss. It's around the cuckoo clocks. And I'm not going to say anything more, but it's going to be grand, so please do come and join us.
Well, you deserve to go to the party. Sven Bossu, it was always a pleasure talking to you. So, Stephen, yes, it is really building up round here. So look forward to speaking to you again later on. Back to you, Stephen.
And thanks, Nadine. I did have a quick peek at the party, and we will share a little bit of a teaser in a short while. But earlier today, I also met with Lisa Lansdowne-Higgins for Thursday's big interview. Now, Lisa is the Vice President of Card Operations and Supplier Management at the Royal Bank of Canada and a SWIFT board member. Sibos 2016 in Geneva is nearly over, and next year we will be in Toronto. So to take a look back over this year's conference and a look forward to Sibos 2017, I'm joined with Lisa Lansdowne-Higgins from the Royal Bank of Canada. She's also a SWIFT board member. Lisa, welcome. So as we said, it's almost over.
Yes.
But still a day to go. How's the experience been so far for you?
I've always found Sibos to be one of the most invigorating, exciting dialogues. What I love about SWIFT and the ability to bring the conference to locations like Geneva is how we collaborate, how we bring global partners together, and we look at common themes. You know, if I think of Sibos and SWIFT, we always celebrate what we do very well. If you look at compliance and standards on how we've been able to bring that into a global dialogue and a discussion, I think those are always really important aspects. If we look at themes, however, this year, you know, cyber certainly is top of agenda, as it is top of mind for all of us in the financial industry.
Well, fintech has been a hot topic at Sibos for a few years. I mean, in Singapore as well, last year we were talking about it, and banks saw fintech, well, some are a bit uncertain about it, some a bit more confident about it. But how many have taken that leap of faith to move forward, to set up their own programs, their own labs, incubator programs? How has the conversation about fintech evolved?
Well, I think the conversation of fintech has evolved so much so that it's more a partnership and a dialogue. Certainly the word disruption comes into play, and we continue to look at that as somewhat of a threat, but I think for us it's about embracing what that opportunity presents itself. We look at what our customer demands are and what our marketplaces are looking for, and for us to stand still, that ultimately isn't where we can go. It won't benefit us in the end. And so it's about bringing the two groups together and how we incubate, as you said, how we bring some proof of concepts together and design that, partnerships, and again, collaboration. So again, that theme that underpins everything. And fintech hubs are really the way of how it is that we're being innovative and agile in the future.
But if I would ask you along that scheme of things, how far along are we in that area of fintech? How much further do we have to go?
Well, I don't know that the journey will ever end.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that. Hopefully it never does, because I think we are always reinventing or reimagining who it is that we are. And we're always trying to be very close to that customer experience and what that use case might be. But where are we in the journey? We're early on in the journey. You know, if I think of InnoTribe here at Sibos, it actually was kicked off in Toronto, I believe, 8 years ago. Oh. And so when we think of InnoTribe and its evolution and how it really has become part of the ingrained experience here within the conference, you know, I think it's so important. And to have Swift leading that conversation and to have introduced such ideas like InnoTribe really makes a foundational difference into everything that we are doing and how it is that we're looking forward.
Well, as you mentioned, technology will always be a part of our lives and is constantly evolving and changing, affecting every aspect. And cybersecurity has been another hot topic here this time around as well. How do you see that progressing over the years?
Well, I mean, it's going to be ever present. I think Yawar and Gottfried set the stage very well in the opening plenary and really bringing to the community where it is that we need to focus our attention. The customer security program, I think the CSP has really been underpinned around the fabric of what we need to do, each of us, and how we have to take ownership for that. The fact that it's ever growing, ever persistent, how it is that we need to be able to tackle those ideas, but more importantly, again, for Swift, how do we bring the community together to have a more informed dialogue so that we're actually in a stance where we can be prepared and or responsive to attacks as they come.
And this is an issue that's not just facing the financial industry. In fact, cybersecurity is something that's everyone's concerned about, because as we move towards technology, so much of our lives are on one little phone, you know. We can do so much with so little in that sense.
When you look at what the new generation is bringing, and we look at mobile technology, the realities are we have to be very vigilant in that and understand its implications. And I think if you can do that, then you can actually be prepared.
Well, let's look ahead to next year. 2017 will be in Toronto, your hometown in Canada. I had a chance to go to school there, went to university in BC, in British Columbia.
Beautiful.
It is a beautiful country. Yeah. How will Sibos heading to Canada be a bit unique in that sense? Perhaps you can share with us.
Well, I think what I like about it coming to Toronto is it's such at the right time. When I consider Toronto and everything that we're doing with fintech hubs, not just in Toronto, but nationally as well, too. We have some fintech startups coming out of BC as well. So when we think about that dynamically coming in and the changes that are happening in our industry, it's a perfect time in Toronto to be there to help us help to invigorate what that landscape looks like. We're really focusing on how it is that we look at investment. You know, certainly Silicon Valley has led the way in what we need to do. So how do we develop our own talent? Bringing a conference like Sibos to Toronto really does help to develop and target into the industry itself and bring talent into the city.
Have you found many similarities in terms of the topics and the issues that were being discussed here that are also issues that are concerning Canada?
Yeah, top of mind, obviously, certainly is cyber. I think that it will always be on the agenda. I think taking it off the agenda, we would lose sight of the things that we need to be aware of. But I would also say standards. And as we look at real-time platforms, and in Canada, the modernization efforts that we're going through within our payment infrastructure, all of those are top of mind, and how it is that we bring that forward, new technologies that are being discussed, and what is it that we need to do around global and security and standards and collaboration. So it is actually one of the more important things that I think will be in Toronto.
And Canada is unique as well because the East and the West are quite different. You know, you've got very much of a European feel in Montreal and Quebec and places like that. Has that ever proven to be a bit of a challenge in terms of creating standards across the country?
Well, honestly, I'm not sure that it has posed a challenge. I think for us, bringing the fabric of our country together has really been something we've been working on for generations. You know, I'm born and raised in Toronto itself, and so having worked East and West myself, it really is different culture, but how do we bring that together? And I think that underpinning that is who we are at its foundation. I think we've done a great job of being able to do that. One of the other things about Toronto and about Canada is I find that we're a very open culture. We aren't set on defining that we have to be in this perfect box of what it looks like. For us, bringing the new cultures into our country with immigration. If you look at Toronto, over 51% of our population is foreign-born. And so it's about inclusiveness within our country and within the city and how it is that we actually leverage and we can underpin everything that we're looking for in the future under that.
In fact, you've just mentioned that keyword because diversity and inclusivity are always topics that we also discuss at Sibos. So moving to a place like Canada, in Toronto, how can that discussion grow further?
Well, I think that the great thing about Swift and Sibos is that when you look under the culture stream, there actually is some underpinning themes around diversity and inclusion. And they tackle those topics. They bring them to the front of the conversation. And when we look at it in Canada, that's what we've been doing for a very long time. So the richness of our conversation really is stemming under the diversity of the population and really what it is that we're bringing in our communities together. I think one of the other most interesting statistics about the city itself is that only 14% of the population is over the age of 65. So we have a very youthful exuberance and an excitement and an energy in the city around innovation and being creative and new ideas.
Well, now's the chance for you to do a bit of a sales pitch for Toronto. Folks out there, you know, thinking, should I go next year? What would you say to them?
Oh, I would say absolutely come to the city. The city is a very vibrant city. As I said, it has the youthfulness of it. We have very rich cultural aspects architecturally. There's the ROM that will be there. We have the University of Toronto with all of its historic buildings. If you take a look at some of the other cultural nuances, the Toronto Symphony Orchestra, we have many world-famous art galleries. We really do host the world well when you do come into the city.
And not just that, you have a big birthday celebration next year as well. The country celebrates 150 years.
150 years.
Wow.
So I know we're going to kick off festivities starting on New Year's Eve, and I know it will continue right through until the end of the year. I know there are art challenges happening. There are music festivals. Really, it's about coming together as a country and celebrating who it is we are. And once again, I'd love to invite the world to come and celebrate with us, and I think that at its essence is who we are.
Well, thank you, Lisa. We're all looking forward to meeting up again next year.
Yes, thank you.
Well, a short while ago, I headed down to see how preparations were going for the social highlight of Sibos 2016, the closing party. So for many of us, this will be our last day in Geneva. And at the conference, we hope you've had a chance to catch up with colleagues and friends. There has been a lot to think about. So as we are about to depart Geneva, we thought it only fitting for a proper send-off. Earlier today, I checked out the preparations for our end-of-conference party. There will, of course, be food, wine, dancing, and one or two surprises. Well, I've been far too busy to hit the slopes, so this ski simulator is just perfect. None of the cold, lots of fun, and I won't be going home in a cast. But if that's too energetic for you, the Sibos events team are busy putting together a truly Swiss event. The theme for the party this year is Crazy Cuckoo, which means a final taste of Switzerland. The caterers are warming the raclette, chilling the wine, and laying the dance floor for us to tear up later. All this is being overseen by our very organized party producer, Antoine. So Antoine, I see lots of preparations going on. Can you tell us what can people expect from the party tonight?
Well, as you can see, we are creating alpine scene with mountain view. We have a wooden chalet here. We have the ski simulators. An ice bar is coming. Well, Heidi and hot dogs will be in the place. as well. We'll be serving traditional Swiss food. Well, the perfect Swiss experience tonight.
And anything special that people should look out for?
Wow, plenty of surprise tonight. You will see, it will be fun.
Most importantly, will you be ready in time?
For sure, we are Swiss, we're always on time.
So be ready to unwind, because right after the closing plenary, the party begins. So we have the party all lined up, ready to go to straight after the closing plenary. But Nadine, for now, it's back to you.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Gosh, that looks great, the closing party later on. Now, I found two friends from SAP. It's John and Jasper, and they've been waiting very patiently. Now, I believe you're a Sibos veteran. Reveal all.
Yes, it's my 14th, and this one is very different because we've gone from banking to technology in a flash.
So you've seen a real sea change, have you? Have you enjoyed your time here?
Oh, it's been excellent, excellent. The weather's been fantastic. Well done, Swift.
Well done. And Jasper, now I know you get to see your pal once a year, so you're not quite as many years behind you, but how many years have you been coming to Sibos?
I think it's either 4 or 5 times. So
You can't remember?
Sorry?
You can't remember exactly?
No. I try to forget it as soon as possible afterwards.
Yeah. So what have you thought about this experience this year?
Strangers, but very good. It was interesting meetings we have had with a number of customers. Perfect.
Brilliant. So tell me what your plans are then as a result of Sibos. You've obviously met loads of old colleagues and new friends. Tell me about your highlights of the week.
Oh, it was Monday when the Stuart Levy said the compliance officers could go to prison next year. I enjoyed that.
What else did you take away from the conference?
A lot of the banks are saying the margins are going down, customers are demanding more, especially at the front end. They want end-to-end processing, and they want a more, what they call a home life in the workplace, which is all the technology you've seen on your smartphone. They want that transferred into the banking business.
Well, John and Jasper, thank you very much. Don't feel I'm being rude to you, but I found someone very special around here. It's the friend of the show. Yes, it's Andrew Muir. He's from the Standards Forum. I love this man. Now, I always knew he was a lovely man. We interviewed you last year. I arrived in Geneva, didn't realise it was him, and he heard me saying, oh dear, I can't get a trolley. I've got no money on me, being the Queen, of course. And he said, there you go. You can have 2 Swiss francs. I've been holding on to this for the last 7 days, Andrew. I owe this back to you. So thank you so much for loaning me 2 Swiss francs. There you go, there you go.
Great pleasure. Thank you very much, Nadine. It's a great pleasure to have it back. But of course, we live in an environment of negative interest. So here you are.
Oh, I'm getting money back, am I? Thank you very much. And can I have also the original 2 Swiss francs back? Simply because I've got to get back to the airport later on, so I'm going to need it again. So how's it been, your Sibos? We've got about 20 seconds.
It's been fantastic for us. The standards community loves Sibos. It came together today to do some really good business. Earlier in the week, we had inspiration, we had singing, we had work, we had, you name it, we had it. It was fantastic.
And it was, and I just love your passion and enthusiasm. Andrew Muir, thank you for being on the show. Over to you, Stephen.
Thanks a lot, Nadine. It certainly looks like the buzz is getting up there. Well, you know what? That's it for Sibos TV this year. We want to thank you all for watching throughout the week, for all your involvement, suggestions, and your friendly hellos as we've been running around filming the conference and the different things happening. So from me and from Nadine and the entire team behind the cameras at Sibos TV, we hope you've had a great conference, and we look forward to seeing you again next year. But of course, don't forget the party tonight. And also coming up, our closing plenary for Sibos 2016 Geneva. Goodbye for now.